Hi, everyone. I'm Helen Bello, and welcome to the Conscious Cafe. Welcome. It's so great to have you here. I am excited to have our special guest tonight, Kelly Mason. And let me tell you a little bit about Kelly Mason. She is a mom of two teenagers that I saw when they were really, really little, a yoga teacher, healer, entrepreneur, a veteran camera woman in the film industry. And through her award-winning documentary, Pave the Road, she wrote an environmental law mandating the use of plastic waste in road construction to close the loop on ocean and soil pollution in Central America, which is a phenomenal feat. Kelly is one of the highest selling directors with Getty Images and is active in the International Cinematographers Guild as a director of photography, a camera operator for multiple series, including Riverdale, Supergirl, Sirens, and Travelers. Pave the Road is a labor of love, I'm going to say, and Kelly's going to talk about it. It is a brilliant documentary that is winning awards. It is an initiative for the voice, as a voice for children in neglected communities and the solution to the plastic waste crises. You can watch the trailer of Pave the Road at pavetheroad.net, which is on our screen there. And so I'm going to say, welcome, Kelly. It is so great to have you. And I'm so happy for your success and proud of you. Like, what an amazing feat you have pulled off in creating this documentary.
Well, thank you so much. I really didn't plan it. It's kind of life is like that, right? But I'm just so happy to be here again with you after all these years. Helen, you and I have known each other for many, many, many years when Helen
Yes.
started, this journey to help so many people in the world. And we've just grown together. And so it's a real honor to be here. Thank you.
Oh, I'm honored to have you on with us. And so tell us a little bit about your journey to Costa Rica and what you uncovered and discovered while you were there.
Yeah, so like I said, it really wasn't a planned journey. It was something that happened out of the necessity to change my life. So many doors closed, my marriage failed, and I had just two young children. Joella and Jesse were toddlers at the time, and I was working beforehand in the film industry full time, so I couldn't go back to work. So I really kind of had nowhere to go. So, the first thing that happened was a spontaneous intervention on the streets of Fort Langley with Tony Robbins, of all people.
Hmm.
So I was, I don't know if I've told you the story, but I was pushing the stroller down the street and I was just so sad because I knew that my life would not be that fairy tale that I was hoping that it would be. And out of nowhere, this gigantic hand came down and stopped me in my tracks. And I looked at the hand and I looked up, and it's Tony Robbins. And he says, "Hi, I'm Tony. What's your name?" And I said, "I'm Kelly." And he said, "Is this your family? These are your children?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "What are their names?" I introduced them. And he looked at me, third question in, and he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "What are you going to do to get okay?" And that's when I said, I'm going to take a yoga retreat. And so I took the yoga retreat, and the retreat was in Montezuma, Costa Rica. And I remember traveling to this retreat, and the roads were so bad. In fact, the lens of my camera broke off the flange, and I thought, I am never coming back here again and traveling these roads again because it was so uncomfortable. And lo and behold, I ended up moving back to the exact same place that I didn't want to, but while I was at this yoga retreat, I received a message from a higher power, and I was, my yoga teacher said I want everybody to journal, and so I started journaling, and this message came through my hand, and the message was, "Your Dharma path is here, so your path of service and action is here. throw your fear into the ocean today. You are to come here and serve me. You will prosper. And so it was such a clear message that I received in that moment. And I just thought, wow, that was a direct message. But it took me 2 years to restructure, regroup, and be able to actually realize, okay, all doors are closed. I need to follow this path. I have no idea what we're going to do in Costa Rica. I left with just my children and I. Joella was 4, Jesse was 2. And we landed in a little yurt on the beach, exactly where I got an original message from that higher power. And then everything just started to unfold. It was like one thing, one sign led to another. And then I realized, oh, I need to start changing my mindset. I need to know how, like, to manifest things. So that's where the co-creation started, and it just led to bigger and bigger and bigger opportunities.
Wow. And what a leap of faith. That is an incredible leap of faith to pack up your children and decide to move there and end up trusting that message.
You know, it was kind of like, at first you could look at it like, oh, it's like a leap of desperation, but it was never that. It was truly, there was never any fear behind it. And, you know, my family's like, what are you doing moving your children to the jungle, you know, and you have no job, you don't know anybody, you don't know the language. And I just knew that in my gut that this was where we needed to go. I ended up selling my house and using that money to get us down there and have, you know, a start. And we just I really just waited. I just thought, okay, I'm just going to see what it is, how I'm supposed to serve, because I was also starting to go on a deep journey of healing through this broken marriage, and just understanding myself and understanding, you know, who am I, first of all, who am you know, how can I, what am I really meant to do here? I had a great identity before I had children in the film industry, doing well, you know, in my craft, but of course, like so many people, there was something missing. And as a practitioner, you know, I'm very spiritual. I meditate. I do all of those things daily. The more I did it, the more I became more in tune with my inner self. And that's where all the magic started happening.
And isn't that, you know, just such a perfect story of going within instead of depending on those external structures that we've built around us to, you know, that we tend to rely on, that we think are going to keep us safe, give us answers, give us a really nice life. And you are a very accomplished film director. So, you know, it's like, yes, you know, you can rely on that, but that didn't sound like it was bringing you what you needed at the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Helen. And that's how I continue to live my life now. You know, I really don't, I don't go into the old pattern and the old belief system of, oh, I better get a job, support my children, single mother, single parent. I do the opposite. I just go into, okay, what is today going to bring? What am I excited about? What can I do to serve? How can I be of value? So it's always at, you know, from that place of passion and surrender that I've been living for the past 12 years.
And I love that you asked the questions. How may I serve? What can I do? How can I give back in the world? It's, you know, there's at some point, that's what we're all here for. We wake up and recognize that we have so much to give every single person if they're willing to go on that journey.
Absolutely, 100%. And it's also, you know, and not so much. So I would always ask, but sometimes I had to demand. Sometimes I had to say, look, I need an eco-intelligent solution to this. Show me the way. Show me something. Or, you know, this is how we want to be able to help. So it's a combination of that surrender and service behavior and attitude to the outside world, and also that ability to take demand and claim and own it, and claim the co-creation, claim the part that we are meant to do here on behalf of the whole, right? On behalf of all of
Yes.
that.
Yes. And, it's funny, I was saying to someone today, there is a law of giving and receiving in the universe. And the law is not that I'll receive and then I'll give. I will give more and more and more of myself without any attachment or expectation to what I get back. But I'll end up receiving such beautiful gifts from the universe as a result of all that I'm giving.
100%. I love that, and that is that's definitely the way that we've needed to go. Especially, people came along and said, how are you going to make money doing this? And you're spending so much time, you're investing so much of your time and your life into this project, but I don't see a way for you to succeed, financially. And so I never thought of it that way. I never did it for money. I never did it for this status. But so that's one of the keys, right? Is to just like, okay,
yeah,
I don't need that, because I know that I'll be taken care of. I know that something will happen along the way that will give us what we need. So I don't, it's almost like, it's not in my mind at all. So that way the windows of opportunities were opening consistently, because spirit is just like guiding me step by step to take, all of those, that to take this journey and to serve the environment, the planet, and my children, and be an example for them as well.
Yeah, what a great example. So tell me about how you started the initiative of getting legislation changed and getting the plastic out of the landfills and used as part of paving the roads, which I think is phenomenal. I've never heard of that before. And how that actually turned into a documentary.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, that's great questions. I like telling the story. So basically, what happened was when we first landed in Montezuma, I noticed after about 3 months that there was a lot of dust in the air all the time, and the area that Montezuma is in, Montezuma, Santa Teresa, is in the southern Nicoya Peninsula, and that's a very highly touristed neighborhood. And so there are large trucks, there are folks on quads, there's a lot of vehicles that travel those roads, and they're not paved. And so living there, you start breathing in the dust all the time, and it's like a beautiful place, right? There's the beaches, and you're in nature, and you're, for the most part, the houses are kind of off grid. But when you go onto the roads, or you go into the schools, which are very close to the roads, or the grocery stores or restaurants, everyone's just being exposed to this road dust. So basically, a friend of mine called me one morning, and she said, my son stopped breathing in the middle of the night. We had to rush him to the clinic. I have to take him out of school. It's a health hazard. What can you do to help, Kelly? We need your help. And I thought, that is so strange that, first of all, she's asking me to help, because we had just arrived, and we didn't know what our place was, and nobody really knew who we were. And I thought, okay, I can use the camera and hold the government officials accountable for helping these people, and and use the camera and film them, and just say, why aren't these roads being paved in this area? And so that's how that started. The initiative started with that inquiry, and then we realized we need to find out what everybody else thinks and what everybody else wants. So I interviewed the community for a year. We need to find out what the medical repercussions are. How is this dust actually affecting the children? So we had an environmental engineer come down and test all the roads and the particulate matter and the size of those dust particles and where they're entering the kids' lungs, eyes, ears, all of those things, and all the citizens that live in that area. And then we, spoke to the doctors, and then we went to the government officials. And so that's where that initiative really came into traction. And then we went to Toyota, and Toyota gave us a truck to help spread our awareness. And we auto wrapped this Hilux vehicle. And then we realized, okay, wait a second. Government is not going to pave these roads. We went and asked, they said it's not our priority. So I thought, all right. Costa Rica has a carbon neutral goal for 2021. They've now pushed it to, I think it's 2025. But at the time, I was thinking they need solutions for their carbon neutral goal. And the other problem was there's so much waste everywhere. There's garbage. There's no waste management in Costa Rica and many of the surrounding countries in Central America. So all the garbage is thrown into these big illegal pits. So people just, have extra land and they offer this land up and the government has to pay some money for it. But anyway, it's just not regulated. So I thought, okay, how can we create a solution for these two problems? So that's when I met with a very good friend of mine, Paul Harrison, who suggested, hey, there's some people in India making plastic roads. And so then that's when we met with government officials that wanted to help. And they said, go to the national laboratory, certify this. So we spent 4 years with the national laboratory, and they happened to be looking into it at the same time. And so again, Providence, and we partnered, we tested, and we realized, okay, this is a major universal solution. First of all, we can reduce the fossil fuels that we use in road construction. We can replace those fossil fuels with garbage. We can close loop garbage, and we make better, longer lasting roads. So that was the story that we needed to tell in this film.
That's phenomenal. That's revolutionary in what we can do with our garbage and creating new roads, paving the roads that we have. Are there any other countries that are adopting this that you know of?
Yes, there are a few. So India is one. There's a company in England that's doing it. We actually have a company in Canada that has created a technique. They're called Green Mantra. There are a few countries around the world that are starting this. So this is now becoming a hot topic because we have spoken to the Association of Modified Asphalt. We have spoken to engineers that are experts in this field, and they're testing it in California. Some of the larger companies like Dow claim to be testing this. So I think this is going to be moving into, it just makes sense that it's going to be moving into the mainstream.
Wow. And considering, our climate is I'll own it for myself, number one concern at this point, because if we don't have this beautiful earth to provide everything that it provides, then, we're in big trouble. So I'm excited that there's that kind of innovation going on. How was this received by the people in Costa Rica?
The people love the idea. In terms of the government, they love it too. But you see, there's right now there's a collapse of the infrastructure system in Costa Rica. So there's a lot of corruption. It has been found out. They are now at a standstill. So I created a startup company called Green Pavement with these formulas, these plastic waste formulas all ready to go. Everything is set up. So we're just looking for a mid to large construction company to be able to partner with us, because now is the time to go into Costa Rica and take over, because these companies that have been corrupt are suspended. So now there's no road building at all going on in Costa Rica, or repairs or maintenance or anything. So, and then there's the same problem in Asia too, right? So a lot of the garbage in Asia is landing in the ocean. So I've been reaching out to some impact entrepreneurs and trying to, get the message out there. And I think that's where filmmaking is really helpful, and where maybe this film will inspire, because we have footage of the tests and, the process, and it's a legitimate thing and it works. So I hope it works out that way. Yeah.
Yes. And, I think also your film is winning awards. It just won last night. Yep.
Yeah,
A couple days ago.
Yes. Yeah. We won at the Chelsea Film Festival, which is a big festival now. It's ranked, I think, 6th in North America. So we won Best Documentary Feature at the Chelsea Film Festival. So that helps, right? All these laurels. We've got like a few. So I think we have 17 now. So I think, and we have a wonderful distributor, and we're getting the film out there. So it's happening for sure. And I hope that, we can share with more audiences too. So.
Oh yes, for sure. And we're looking at a proposal just with Global Truth Center as well to get that out there and to a larger audience and have a screening of it. I'm wondering what was your come to, fall on your knees point in making the documentary? Like, I know in every, maybe not for you, but for me in projects, there's this point where it's like, I don't know if this is going to work, or, there seems to be so many things showing up and making it difficult. And did you have a couple of those moments?
Almost every day.
That's so reassuring to hear.
I should wear knee pads because it's like getting painful. But we're getting there, and there, I guess the big moments were when administrations changed in Costa Rica. So we would work on something and we would be so close, like we would almost be able to pave our pilot project, which are the 7 school roads, the 7 schools that we're protecting. We ended up getting that done, and influencing about 45 kilometers of pavement in that area, which protects the people. But we didn't do it with green pavement, because what happens is the administrations change every 4 years. So we get really close, and then it changes, and then we'd have to kind of start over again and go and have all those meetings and meet everybody and try to push it through. And, everyone's got different agendas. So those were the toughest kind of big moments living in Costa Rica. And then in terms of the film, like, just because it's such a personal story, and it's it involves my family. Not only is it personal, it's about my family, and to be able to find the right voice and the right way to tell that, so that it could serve and have the biggest impact on our audience, so the audience can relate to it, and it can really, make a difference for the people watching it, was really hard. So one of the big turning points in that process was after the first cut. I had a good friend, Richard Lewis, come on. He watched the film. We reunited after years, and he said, he saw the trailer and he said, "Kel, I've got to see the film." So we watched the film, and he said, "Look, I know you, and I know that you are trying to protect people in this film, but you have to totally go out there on the ledge, and you have to expose everything. You have to just share. You need to tell your story and not make it all your fault from the personal perspective." He says, you have to. So I did. So he came on board, and we reworked it. We made 165 new cuts, and he directed all the new narration. And so now that has made it a better film. But that was very hard at that one point because as a documentary filmmaker, and especially doing a story about your own story, is it's hard. It's tricky, and yeah,
It's vulnerable. It's a very vulnerable position to be in because you are basically bearing your soul and bearing, all your stuff, and that can bring up a whole host of emotions and fears for sure. So good.
absolutely. And I've been a very private person before, really. I liked going on set and just not saying too much and just doing my job and kind of dimming my light, and just kind of making sure that, everything. But now I realize, no, I got to go in the other direction. I need to be me. I need to come out and share. And I think that's important for all of us, like that we can just, we're all the same, basically. We have the same formula, human being. So, if we can share our stories and our vulnerabilities, like you said, I think it's better for everyone to relate and to identify and to heal.
Especially when we think we're the only ones, right? It's like, I'm the only
Exactly.
one who feels this way, thinks this way. There's something wrong with me for feeling that. And then it's like, oh no, other people do as well. And it's okay. And you can move through it and come out the other side and feel that wholeness and
Yes.
connection to a greater part of ourselves.
Yes, exactly. That's so true. And being able to, you know, uh, come full circle because of that with forgiveness and acceptance and compassion, like really knowing that we all have this role, multiple roles that we're playing for each other. And, we don't get to see the kid's dad very much. And it's sad because, we just, you have to explain to others, well, it's not that there's anything wrong with or bad about anybody. It's just that everyone's got these karmic roles, and we need to be grateful for the karma that we're working out in this life with each other.
Yes, and have deep compassion for it, because it's, for so many people that's not an easy journey.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm curious how your children have seen the film.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yes,
They've seen it.
yes.
Yeah.
And what's their reaction?
Yeah.
How did they take it?
Well, now they're teenagers, so they're just like, oh
Mhm.
my God, Mom, don't show anybody. Teenagers, right?
Mhm.
That growth, that time of change, and it's a whole other world for them. So, but they are really behind Pave the Road, and they have been involved in the project since they were, toddlers, and they believe in helping the universe and the planet and
Mm.
doing their part. So, we do have to step it up, but at the same time being spiritually minded and knowing that like these journeys are miracles in the way that they unfold. There is this level of faith and trust again, of knowing that this is the stage of life. We've got this duality on this paradigm. How can I play the best parts? What do I need to do to be well? How do I need to take care of myself every day to do well? And, how can I just be gentle on myself and my family and as well, And so I think that's most important. That's the most important starting point.
Yes, it is. And and then from there it's step by step. For me anyways, it's like, okay, what do I need to do today? And how do I bring my love to everything that I do? And that faith and
Right.
trust that love is that healing force that creates miracles.
That's such a good point, and like including that love, right? And tapping
Mhm.
into the heart, and because we are beings of the mind. The mind is, it's the light of being. So um, to remember to go back into our hearts and encompass all the love, all that is, and come from that place of pure absolute devotion and kindness is just makes it
Mhm.
juicier, and then things just work out easier. I always say every day, make it easy, just make it easy.
That's a good mantra. Make it easy. Um, I know, and certainly as we move forward in promoting um, and creating the opportunity to for people from Global Truth and people from all over to uh, watch the documentary. Included in that package is an 80-minute interview with Dr. Bruce Lipton. How did you land that interview and what was that like?
Yeah, that was amazing. It's just so great to talk to Bruce, and you'll see it's just he's just such a positive, scientific based, interesting person. So probably about 7 years ago, while we were in the middle of living in Costa Rica and working on our project, I really came into this heavy awareness about belief systems and about, how I needed to change some of my old belief systems that I didn't even know I had before. We're just so blind to them. We have all these blind spots. And and then I came across, I was Googling belief systems, and of course, Dr. Bruce Lipton comes up. And I thought, oh my gosh, this person is studying this. He's got scientific theories behind it and evidence. I need him to be in my documentary. I'd love to interview him because
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't know how the film was unfolding at that point. And so I just through his website, I sent an email and I just explained what we were doing. And um, I don't think we got a response, and but there wasn't any real follow up because I didn't know where he was going to fit in at that time or how. But that was where the first connection was made. And then recently, just earlier this year, I thought I'm going to follow up with that conversation. So I just reached out and said, 7 years ago, I contacted you. We have now finished the film. I'd love to share it with you. It is based on what you teach and belief systems, etc. And I got a response right away, and it was amazing. And Annie said, "Okay, sure. Bruce is booked up, but let's figure it out." And then I think it was like 4 or 5 months later, became a spot available, and we set it up, and we had a recorded Zoom interview, and that's how it happened.
Wow. You know what I love about that story is that 7 years later, you connected with him again and that you just didn't let it brush off. Because I know for myself, there have been times like when I've asked people, could you do this? And they're like, okay. And, you know, let's talk about it at a later time. And there are times I have not followed up. And the fact that you actually took that leap and followed through and created this 80-minute interview is a long time for someone like that to get
We
that
had to
much
cut it.
time.
We had to cut it short. I mean, he wanted to go for, we could have talked for hours, but I said, we better just say goodbye now because, but yeah, of course, our like-minded community we have, when we connect, we connect.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That is amazing. So, how did you feel talking to him?
I was thrilled. I just was floored that I, was actually talking to Bruce Lipton, and the fact that he watched the whole film and that he commented on different aspects of the film and different behaviors. And, and so there was a lot of really great moments you'll see in the interview. And I felt so blessed to be able to connect with him, and he knows how important the solution is for the next generations. And he also just loves that, just believing in specific things and not wavering from them and following through, how powerful that is. So,
which is exactly what you did, right?
and I think that's what most CEOs need to, that's when you believe in something, right? And it doesn't matter what we're doing. When we really believe in something and we feel driven to follow through and make that difference, or do whatever it is we need to do, we have to know that we all go through rough patches, and that we need to stick with it as long as it continues to resonate with the alignment of the universe, of source. I think that is the most powerful alignment. I think that's why Apple was so successful, with this information age now that we have. This was predicted years, hundreds of years ago by the great masters. And so I believe that our souls are chosen to do these different types of work. So it becomes just part of your life.
Yeah. And so what is your vision for Pave the Road, for the documentary? Where would you like to see it go?
I'd like to see it be seen by as many people as possible because of the solution. Mostly, of course, as a filmmaker, we always want those big streaming network deals, like with Netflix or Hulu. It's because that's where the biggest audience is. And in that audience are people that can actually make a difference in the world. So, for me, I'm looking for that partner right now, that construction company partner, to go into action with this technology so that, we can start cleaning up Central America. So that's kind of it. We do have, we have some really great distribution deals going on. We just got one through a large educational distribution network, where the film will be in multiple libraries and classrooms around the world, languages.
Oh, wow. And
Yeah.
you know what? For young people and children to see the film, because they're going to be the change makers coming up into our future, and they're the ones that are, it's all of us, and yet I see so many passionate young people who are saying, no, 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 I'm not going to live the old way. I'm not buying into the old rules. There's a different way to live life that is inclusive and whole and healthy and conscious. And I love that about them.
Yeah, I love that too. And in fact, I'm working with interns all the time. And that's one of my favorite things to do, is to work with students, because they're just, they're the next generations, and they're passionate, and they love the Pave the Road project. And in fact, all of the interns that we've had on this project have ended up staying on longer than their internship. For years. So it's a testament to how important this work is for protecting the planet.
Mm-hmm. And so how can people help? What can they do, both, individually, collectively? What could people do?
Yeah, well, the easiest thing right now is to just follow us on Instagram. Our handle is PTR Impact Film, or if you just search Pave the Road. Please follow us and comment and share. You see, nowadays, these big streaming networks, they always look at the follower count. And we want our count to grow organically, so we don't do anything. We don't pay for ads. We don't do anything to try to get more followers. We are just hoping through word of mouth, because I believe those people, people that want to follow us are the ones that are really passionate about what we're doing. So that would be the first thing, and then secondly, just take a look at our website. We're going to be announcing some screenings, and so when there's a screening opportunity, to join us to watch the film.
That's great. I love what you were saying about social media, because I think there's something to be said for authentic, passionate followers that are committed to supporting something, as opposed to, oh, this is just on trend, or, you know, and this is an influencer. And because I think we can use social media in such a powerful, potent way when our passion comes through and our truth. So that's so cool. I love it.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah, tell me.
Any anything you would have done differently in making the film, or yeah, just in even making the film? Is there anything you would have done differently?
It took me 10 years to make this film. I had a lot of time. I had a lot of time to make sure I got it right. So I hope we did. I feel like we've just done the best that we can right now. We've got an amazing soundtrack, incredible musicians. DJ Taz Rashid wrote the score for the trailer and wrote the opening score. Daisy Cameron wrote an original score. Scott Fisher as well. And then we have like Parangi and Desert Dwellers, who are both. Parangi, first of all, is like an amazing musician with his wife, and they sing for the planet. They do medicine.
Oh,
So, just feel really blessed to have this gorgeous soundtrack on board. And, I just feel like every player that's in that film was cast specifically for this film. Like, it's quite funny, when you see things that just unfold perfectly. Um, so I don't think at this point, I think we're doing okay, and we're on the right track. And and just hopefully it will get a chance to get out there on the Netflix Latin America, on the Netflix USA, Netflix Canada. Those are the main sectors that we'd like. So we'll see how that unfolds.
hmm. Um, I know I should just ask, what is the handle, the Insta handle again? If you could repeat it,
Yeah,
please, Kelly.
for sure. It's PTR Impact Film.
So Pave the
And
Road Impact Film. So PTR.
yeah, PTR, Pave the Road, exactly. Or I think if you just search Pave the Road on Instagram, it should come up. You should see our little logo with the little tractor,
The little yellow.
the
It's
little
very
yellow tractor.
noticeable. I know, I love it. It's interesting that you talk about the South American Netflix, because I would imagine getting the uh, getting that out to South American countries, and letting South American countries, because I don't think Costa Rica is probably the only one that's suffering from the dust and the dirt, and and the garbage, the especially the excessive plastic, which just seems to be in every corner of the planet right now. Um, uh, what do you think that can do for South America? Especially because there's so many different political um, atmospheres in South America right now.
It's a great question. I think that it would be such a great opportunity for a 180, to go from
Mm,
so much corruption and mismanagement, mishandling of the taxpayers' dollars to the ability to provide a universal example of how to clean up our planet and how to scale back on fossil fuels and to become that leader in that sector and really just say, you know what, we're not going to cheat anymore because we realize what greed can do, not only to the planet but to the children. If you just look at this micro story of these children that are getting sick in their schools from road dust and developing respiratory disorders at a very young age, that greed, that corruption is what causes that child to be sick. So to be able to 180 that and say, you know what, we're done. We realize this is really bad karma. This is not helping. We may not be here much longer. Let's just step up to the plate and make it all good, and no tolerance anymore for corruption, basically.
hmm And then that, from South America, that can just filter out into all parts of the world. And of course, I always bring it back to myself and ask myself the question, how am I in contribution to that? What am I not doing? Or what am I doing consciously or unconsciously? What am I putting out there that's in contribution that I need to clean up in my own mind? And sometimes that's a hard thing to look at because it's like, no, I'm not that way. But everything, at least the way I live my life from this quantum perspective, is everything that shows up in my life is a reflection of myself. And when something comes into my awareness that needs to be cleaned up, it's like, okay, what do I need to clean up inside of myself? Just even my own mental corruption of my crazy monkey mind, right? So there's
100%.
many levels that we can contribute. Yes, sorry, Kelly, I cut you off there.
No, for sure. I think I cut you off there. But yeah, it definitely is. I believe that, first of all, going back to when I needed to clean up my garbage within myself, right? So I kind of like saw all of this garbage everywhere, and I was thinking, okay, now how can I clean up my codependence? How can I clean up, specific um, my arrogance? Like there are all these different things, and as I started to become more aware of that, my outside world changed. And that's one of the things that's just so profound about this reality, is that we can actually just see those changes in our outside world almost immediately. The other thing that I am very conscious of is that, and I believe in, is that, we are here on this stage of life. Our souls, I believe our souls have evolved to a certain point that has got us to planet Earth. And while we're on planet Earth, although we are, we have the quantum physics, the matrix field of creation, there's a specific duality that's here for us to play in. And so as much as like we want to 180 South America or Central America into like, okay, no corruption, let's just everybody be good. We don't know if that's possible on this paradigm, because this is the vibration as a collective that we're sitting
Mhm.
in. So on that level, it's kind of like bit by bit, like little baby step, like you said, to, you know, continue to be aware of what we think, what we do, how we feel, how we act, and how we can surrender that identity, that ego, that whatever it is that keeps getting us tangled up into those old patterns, again, as a collective, right?
Yes. Yes, And that's the thing. We live in this collective paradigm, and it's weaving through all of that and bringing ourselves to the place of, okay, here I am, and what can I do? And I just, I remember when you were moving to Costa Rica, I still have the image of your children as little ones. And I remember how clear and um, directed you were in that's where you needed to go. That that was your next place to land. And I just honor you, Kelly, for following through on that. And it does take courage too to say, yes, I'm following my my spirit, my essence, and how the universe is directing me. And no matter what, I'm going to do it, and I know I'm going to be okay. And then to look at what you've created, and look at what you've given back to the world as a result of that. It's really inspiring. So thank you for that. I'm so happy for you. I'm happy for you for all the awards that the film is receiving, and the impact it's making. And uh, for people at Global Truth Center, stay tuned, because there will be an announcement about how you can view this film and Bruce Lipton's or Kelly's interview with Bruce Lipton, as well as an interview with Richard Lewis as well, the other director, and a live Q&A with you. So
exactly, yes.
It's a whole package that's coming.
And you should know Richard Lewis. So he came on as the executive producer, and Richard is one of the executive producers on Westworld.
Yes.
And he also is a creator, one of the creators and executive producers of CSI. So he directs the Westworlds as well, and has been directing for many, many years. So it's really neat to listen to his interview as well about the project.
And I'm sure he brings a very different perspective, having had so much experience of directing other types of projects, and objective as well, right?
Yes, and he's also a spiritual person too. So I mean, he meditates and he does his thing, and so it's just great to hear from him. And he's interviewed by one of our interns. So that's
love it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm excited to roll that out to people. And any parting wisdom you would like to gift us?
I just am so happy to be in this group. I can feel the love and the vibration here in this beautiful group. So Helen, thank you so much for bringing this into my reality today. And I would say, we're all here to just be gentle on ourselves, and to fall back into the moment more, and to live in a way that is slowing down a little bit, because with the slowing down comes the genius, comes the flow of brilliance, right? Which comes from the infinite. To be able to just do that a little bit more and revel in that gift, then I think that you might find life to be a little more adventurous and fulfilling than you would have ever thought. So,
yeah. Thank you. That is very wise. And I take that to heart, as I sometimes do not slow down enough. Thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us. I'm so grateful, and I appreciate you, and I'm happy for you, and I look forward to the next steps in collaboration with you and showing the film and getting it out to as many people as possible. So
Awesome. Thanks
thank
so much,
you.
Helen. I've had a lovely time today, and thanks so much to you too. Beautiful
Mm.
soul, your wisdom, and amazing leadership. So I'm just happy to be part of this. Thanks again.
Oh, you're so welcome. And thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thank you if you're watching later on YouTube or Facebook. And many, many blessings to you all. Namaste.
Namaste.